Sasha Thomas, and I will be covering courage. Courage is an exemplary trait. And as you can see here, you will see that it says fear. Fear right now is what people think about when they think about the absence of courage. And we have an understanding that fear, F-E-A-R, is false evidence appearing real. But let me tell you something. That is not fear. Fear is legitimate. When you're sitting around, can't figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to pay your bills, fear is real. When you're thinking about blatant racism, if you're going to get shot down on the street, fear is real. Fear is legitimate. But I tell you that courage is what can bring down fear. Courage is conquering your fears. We can see this exemplified with Dr. Martin Luther King. Even in the times of immense racism, even in violent times, he stood his ground. He stood with his dream and even spoke that dream in front of millions of people. And he had courage. Even with Shameless Maya, she is a popular YouTuber, and she started her channel because she wanted to overcome her fear. She was able, even now, to have millions of followers, and she calls herself shamelessly promoting herself. But what she is doing is courage. What she is doing is conquering her fear. I have overcome some fears in my life. I remember a scary meeting. It was a boardroom meeting in which you would really feel esteemed to be in a boardroom, to be able to make really critical decisions for your organization. However, I had a contrasting opinion to popular vote. Everyone even voted in favor of a certain topic, but I disagreed. And I stood my ground, and honestly, I did get upset. But I was able to exemplify courage in that standpoint. Where I exemplify courage is, well, actually, it's actually when I lost my father. If you don't know, going through a loss of a loved one is extremely harmful. It's extremely painful, and it takes a lot of courage to get up, to stand up, and continue on in their absence. And I was able to do that. It's been still 2 years, and it's still difficult, but I exemplify courage every day by getting up and doing what my father told me, which is pursuing my dreams. I can't be long, but I'm going to give you some really critical steps to becoming even more courageous. The first step is to embrace. You have to embrace your fear. You have to acknowledge that it exists and that it is a present circumstance in your life. If you can present your fear, if you can stand in front of your fear, if you can look at your fear in the face, you can get to the next step of courage. Once you have stood your ground, you have to face it. You have to get in front of it, and you have to go through it. That's facing your fear. That is going into the next step of courage. You have to continue on. Step to conquering your fears is to erase it. To realize that you have won, to realize that you have stood at your ground, that you have moved forward, and that you can finally erase that. You can move on, to go on to conquer new fears, and to exemplify courage in every place of your life. In order to go ahead and get rid of your fear, in order to exemplify courage, in order to move to the next step of your life, you're going to have to embrace your fear. You're going to have to face your fears, and you're going to have to erase your fears. All of these things are necessary for your development. So don't fear it. Go through it. Finish it.